Hey everybody, welcome. So this is super exciting for me. This is the first sort of live webinar that I've done. A little bit more structured piece. You find me musing on my bike quite often, but yeah, I just have so much more incredible information that I want to share with everybody. And so I'm going to start doing it in this format. So yeah, this is new for me. So I was just thinking as I was coming on, like, any feedback that you guys want to give me is awesome. I really love your feedback. So let me know how it goes today. I'm going to just kind of hang out for a couple minutes here. I know there was a few people in particular that were for sure going to come on. So I'm just going to hang here for a minute and see if those people come on. And if not, then we'll just get started and go from here. So yeah, maybe I'll start with letting you guys know. So my name's Dana Pierce, and I am, my company is Dana Pierce Self-Love Coach. I kind of am my company. And I'm a mindset coach and holistic healer. Hey, Hector, thank you for joining. Yeah, so I'm a mindset coach and holistic healer. And really, I work, though I have a lovely following of some wonderful gentlemen like Hector. I also, I mainly coach to women. And what my main goal is in my work is I help women find their inner and outer voices. And I do that so that they can stop feeling stuck and trapped in their bodies and in their lives. And instead they can step into each day feeling alive and inspired. So yeah, so I do mainly work with women, but I also have some lovely gentlemen that inspire me and that I'm inspired by as well. So, and I'm grateful for their feedback as well and their following. So, so yeah, I'm not sure who else was going to be on today, but we're already in a couple minutes, so I don't want to hang out too long. I don't want to keep everybody too long, so I'm just going to get started. So yeah, so my goal today is to share with you 3 secret ninja hacks, as I call them. I don't know how secret they are, but 3 hacks on how to set up goals and stay the course without using willpower as your compass. And I'm really hoping that everyone walks away today with something valuable from our time together. I'm going to try and make this not go too long, but if you have to leave for some reason, just know that I'm going to leave this up for a little bit before I do some other things with it. So I'll leave it on my Facebook page for a little while. So please feel free to come back to it later. And I'm encouraging everyone to listen till the end because I do have a special offer that I'm going to make at the end of this as well. So hang in there with me. Like I said, I promise not to have it go on too long. So I've been talking about reestablishing and resetting our 2018 goals. And the reason that I've been doing this is because I recently started to witness that my commitment to my goals that I had set in the beginning of the year had started to kind of wane a little bit. And Hector and a few of my other lovely avid followers started mentioning to me, hey, I'm missing your bike musing, I'm missing your, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, you got me. So so as I was doing that, and as I started to step into reaffirming and readjusting my commitments to myself, it got me looking at what creates success at achieving our goals and staying the course. And of course, this is like one of the biggest things that I do as a coach, right? It's all about setting goals and how do we achieve them? How do we stay the course? And one of the things that I witness is that a lot of people believe that willpower is what is sort of like the one main factor that gets us to our goals. And some people will say, oh, I don't have any willpower, or I just can't do it. So if that's you, then this is for you. because it's been my experience as a coach that willpower actually has a lot less to do with getting to our goals than we think it does. And it's been my experience as a coach, and also someone who set and achieved a fair number of goals for myself, that there are actually 3 other major components that play an even more significant role than willpower. And those components are system, support, and accountability. So the system is about having the right steps in the right order. The support means having someone to help encourage you when you're feeling stuck. And the accountability is that kick in the butt when you're falling off track, which I think we all kind of need. Okay, so those are the 3. So I'm going to go into them a little bit more in depth. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with support, and I'm going to circle back. I'm going to do support and accountability, and I'm going to circle back to system at the end. And I'll explain why. You'll see why. So support is having encouragement, right? Like, encouragement is so important. We all need to feel encouraged. And the interesting thing is we often turn to the people closest to us, like our friends, our families, our partners, even sometimes our coworkers. Those are the people that we turn to for this support. And again, one of the things that I've learned in my coaching is that this can also be a place where sabotage can come in. I know that might sound really weird, but often when we're trying to venture into something new in our lives, like changing our habits for healthier ones, or whatever it is that you're trying to change, the people closest to us can actually feel threatened by that. And the reason that they feel threatened is because it makes them have to take a look at where they are or aren't showing up in those areas in their lives. So it can be a little dicey, right? And then what happens, the self-sabotage part comes in because we often start to feel really guilty, that they feel threatened. So then we end up sabotaging ourselves or pull back from our goals to be accepted, because love, safety, and belonging are the 3 basic human needs that everybody needs, and belonging is a big one. So if we feel like we're going to be ostracized from the crowd, or if somebody sort of makes a little comment to us about something and it's kind of a negative one, we pull back and we regroup, and then it's like, no, I'd rather fit in than reach these goals for myself. So it's really important to find the right people to support you. That's really the key here, is to find the right people to support you. Okay, so that's support. So let's look at accountability. So most of us actually know what to do. We just don't always do it, right? So let me ask you a question. What's one thing that you could be doing for yourself that you're not, that would have a significant impact on achieving your goals? And I'm just going to give everybody just a few seconds just to kind of think about that and maybe bring something up. What's one thing that you could be doing for yourself that you're not, that would have a significant impact on achieving your goals? And if you're live, feel free to drop a comment in the chat. And even if you're just reviewing this, if you're watching the recording, please feel free to just drop a comment in the chat. I'd love to see where everybody's at. Okay, so I'm guessing most of you could probably come up with at least one thing pretty easily. And the thing is without accountability, though, we don't always follow through. We fall into ruts. And it's really useful to have someone to hold us to the highest versions of ourselves, especially when we can't. Especially when we're not able to hold that for ourselves. We're in the rut. We're in the kind of, I call it the rabbit hole. So, and another way of seeing this is that there are 2 kinds of relationships in this context of the accountability piece as well. There are what I call supporters, and there are stretchers. And this kind of goes back to the support piece as well. So in this context, the supporters in our lives are the ones that will allow us to make up all sorts of excuses for not doing what we say we want, if that makes sense. And the stretchers are the ones that will give us that kick in the butt when we need it. And they'll be honest with us, and they'll actually call us out on stuff. So those are our stretchers, and those are good people to have in your life, because a lot of us have supporters. We don't have a lot of stretchers in our lives. So, and that's where the accountability piece comes in. So finding someone to be accountable to that can hold the highest version of you, right? And not, again, get tripped up on their own, where am I in this? And what, where am I in this dialogue in my own life, right? So really finding somebody who can do that for you. So that's another really key element to succeeding with your goals. Okay, so now for the system. So in the beginning, I mentioned that the system is about having the right steps in the right order. And these 3 steps that I'm going to share with you, I have used to help my clients consistently create transformation in their lives, to be able to set those goals and to be able to achieve them. So number 1 is set up conditions for inevitable success. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. Number 2 is discerning what's working for you and what's not. And I love this one. We'll go into that as well. And number 3 is shifting these new habits into behaviors that actually stick, so that they become your new way. It's just simply what you do. Okay, so let's go back to number 1. So setting up conditions for inevitable success. When you have conditions for inevitable success, then follow through just becomes easy. And without this, we inevitably fall back into old patterns and get more of what we don't want. So by taking a look at how you can make yourself a priority in the context of your own busy life is super, super, super important. Most people are surprised to discover that they actually feel trapped in parts of their lives, their families, even their jobs. And so by setting up this inevitable success, it can empower you to take charge of your life and your health and all aspects of your life without compromising everything else. So, because for example, like if you feel like you have to choose between your goals and your current obligations, then it's not sustainable and it's certainly not fun. And it makes it very difficult to hold to your goals. So success comes from consistently considering how what you're doing, the goals that you're setting up for yourself, actually fit in with your family, your friends, the holidays, like whatever it is that's on your plate. And otherwise, because otherwise it's like pushing a boulder uphill, right? I mean, if it doesn't, then, and again, it's not sustainable. So the second one, number 2, is discerning what works for you and what doesn't. So I love this one. The idea that one size fits all just it doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. So what I work with my clients is tapping into, I call it their own inner guru, right? So tapping into your own inner guru and getting really, really clear about what works for you is so important. There is so much information out there these days, and it can be confusing and overwhelming to know where to even begin. I know personally, I just went through a big shift myself in the last 6 months to a year. And as I was looking at, okay, so what do I need to do differently? How am I going to change things? And I was overwhelmed with the amount of information that was available to me in a very short amount of time. And I realized that overwhelm was just simply creating more stress for me, and it wasn't helping me at all. So I ended up choosing one thing. I just chose one thing, and I said, okay, I'm going to try this one thing and see if it works. And fortunately for me, it did work, and I'm quite happy now. So, but yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling how much information is out there, especially when you're talking about health and wellness. I mean, I coach to a lot of different things, but there's just so much information, it can just be overwhelming. And that's not going to get anybody to their goal. So, I say this too, you can be doing things that other people are doing. You'll see all these different infomercials and all this stuff out there, right? And you'll be seeing all this stuff on the net, wherever. And the thought that what they're doing is is going to work for you doesn't always, it doesn't work that way. So it's sort of like, I liken it to being in like a laboratory, like a laboratory, right? We have to try things, we have to sample things. But yeah, otherwise it's like banging your head against the wall, right? And often we'll be trying to do things that other people are doing, thinking, oh, well, look, they got these great results, and we don't get results. So, which can be super frustrating. And again, it often leads to us just falling off track on our goals, right? We end up falling off. So, so back to discerning what works for you and what doesn't. So getting crystal clear on what works for you is key to getting the results that you're looking for. So play around a little bit, try some things and get really clear on what works for you, and don't worry about what's working for everybody else. So number 3 here is shifting the new habits into behaviors that stick, so that they become your new way. So this is one of my favorite pieces with my clients as well, is we create, like, I call it a new baseline. So often when we're setting goals for ourselves, we do it by using big changes. I talked about this a bit this morning on my bike musing. So yeah, we try using these big changes, and often when it comes to diet or exercise, like diet, there's these deprivation diets, right? Only eat this, or don't, and exercise, there's like boot camps. And for other things, it's like we swing the pendulum. I love, or I'm going to quit drinking, I'm going to quit, whatever it is, I'm going to stop this entirely. And I mean, though that might actually work for some people, generally, it's been my experience that, and I used this one this morning, small hinges swing big doors. So what happens is when we create these big swings, it actually sets us up in so many ways. It creates this like sort of screw it all attitude, right? And it's just such a massive setup for failure on so many fronts. It's a setup for failure psychologically, mentally, emotionally, in so many ways. So yeah, when we're trying to create these massive swings, it's a setup for failure. So like I said, small hinges swing big doors. So chunking things down into bite-sized pieces or changes, like small changes that you can make, gives you the ability to adapt them into your lifestyle and really create sustainable change. I mean, that's one of the biggest keys to sustainable change too, in the onset, is how you set yourself up for it, right? So create small changes. I've had some friends in the last little while that are, over the summer, that are wanting to make some changes in their lives. And I was sort of watching and listening to, to some of their approaches, and some of the, one of my friends was like, oh, I'm going to change this, and this. And I'm just kind of sitting there going, wow, that's a lot of change in short order. So chunk it down, like really, really, really chunk it down into smaller pieces. Make one small change for a short amount of time, get that as a new baseline, and then create the next change. Then set up the next change that you want to. Hector's giving me the, I'm not sure what that is, Hector. Okay, so I think Hector was, if I may, I think Hector was trying to make some changes as well this summer, and we did have some conversations about creating some smaller changes. Hey, Piper, thank you for joining. So nice to see you here. So I'm just actually wrapping up, but you're going to catch the review, Piper, so that's perfect. So just to recap, so the 3 secrets on how to set your goals and stay on course without using willpower as your compass are support, which means having the right people or person to help encourage you when you're feeling stuck. The second piece was accountability, finding someone to be accountable to that can really hold that highest version of you and who's willing to be honest with you and really give you a kick in the butt when you're falling off track. That is just super, super, super important. And last, it's really about creating a bit of a system for yourself. So setting up the right steps in the right order for yourself. And the 3 steps that I'm offering today and sharing with you today are setting up conditions for inevitable success. So consistently considering how this all fits into your lifestyle. discerning what works for you and what doesn't. So getting crystal clear on what works for you personally and not everybody else. Don't worry about what's working for everybody else. Just pick something that's going to work for you. And number 3 is shifting these new habits into behaviors that stick, so that they become your new way, just your new way of being, without you having to think about it. And just remember this one: small hinges swing big doors. So that's a big one as well. So if you follow these guidelines for 45 to 90 days, I promise that you're going to have different rituals, different habits, and you will start to create transformation in your life, no matter what the goal is. It doesn't have to be health, wellness. It doesn't have to be, it can be anything across the board in your life. Just set up those pieces for yourself. And the most important part about this, the way that I've offered it, is that it creates sustainable change. And that's really what we're all looking for, right? I mean, it's not about these big swings and, doing these deprivation diets and doing these massive boot camps or quitting this or quitting that. It's about creating sustainable change in our lives, something that we can create it creates a new lifestyle for us and a new baseline. And then we can hold that, and then we can make the next change and the next change, and we can keep just taking little steps. So so please drop me a comment, whether you're on live or whether you're listening to the recording. Please drop me a comment on what is most resonating with you about what I've shared here today. No, I have not forgotten my promise. So I just want to say I feel so blessed to be able to do the work that I do as a coach. I get to develop these systems and be that support and that accountability for my clients every day. So, and I'm just so grateful for that. I really, truly am grateful for that. And so what I wanted to offer today is that the first 10 ladies, sorry, Hector, but I will help. I'm happy to support you as well. What is Hector saying here? I love it. Something about wheat-free Fridays, I think is what he's doing. Hector's trying to get off wheat. So, so the first 10 ladies that personal message me, or you can drop a comment below, I am going to offer 10 free 90-minute sessions. I usually do 45-minute discovery calls, but I really want to offer an opportunity to really go in depth and really support people in starting to create this, this process for you of setting your goals, getting crystal clear on what your goals are. That's the first point. That's super, super important, getting crystal clear on your goals. And then also starting to set up these pieces for you so that you can create this sort of transformation and change in your life as well. So the first 10 people, 10 ladies that contact me, and you can contact me in any way. And I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to add a link to this. I'm going to add 2 links. I'm going to add a 25-minute chat with me. If you're just kind of not sure and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want all that, you can contact me for a 25-minute chat, or I'm also going to put a 90-minute schedule up on this after the call, so give me a minute or two, a 90-minute session. So for the first 10 ladies, we'll bring in, I would love to support you with your goals. And if anybody just has any questions on this, feel free to drop a comment below. You can also PM me, email me, whatever works for you. I am here. So, so again, thank you so much for joining me. This has been super exciting, and this is hopefully the beginning of many more of these sort of informative, educational, and hopefully very supportive pieces to really bring into your world and to really start creating some transformation in your lives. So, all right, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining me. Blessings to everyone. Have an incredible weekend. Take care. Dana out.